My topic for presenting is how to fix dents using paintless dent repair, in particular minor dents. So let me get started. PDR, or paintless dent repair, is a method of fixing dents on or body damage on cars. It can be any type of sheet metal such as refrigerators, washing machines, even garage doors, but in this case we're going to talk about cars. It's done in a way that we don't have to repaint a panel. You just massage the metal back into its original place using special tools. It's very fast and efficient if it's done by an experienced technician. They don't need to be certified, but they do need to know what they're doing. The typical DIYer or hobbyist, or whatever you want to call them, somebody that's at home doing this part-time, won't really know how to get the damage repaired 100% of the way, although they can do a pretty good job by themselves too. The good thing about PDR is that it usually retains the market value of a vehicle. An example would be having a 2005 Honda Accord that's worth $4,000. If you take it to the body shop, a potential buyer for your used vehicle might see the imperfections or the change in color in the paint that the body shop did, and it might only make the vehicle worth $3,000, opposed to getting it done the paintless dent repair way, and you can't even tell that there was damage there to begin with. Not all damage can be fixed using paintless dent repair. Most of it can. It just depends on the experience of the technician that is working on your car has. Again, PDR is better than conventional body work. Body men will actually tell you that, they would rather have PDR done on their own vehicles, but they wouldn't do PDR themselves because of the time and patience it takes to learn the trade. PDR doesn't involve using fillers or Bondo, which over time can crack and cause paint to peel. It also keeps, with PDR, you don't have to repaint your car, so there's no worrying about color changes or anything like that. It's also cheaper than conventional body work as well. It takes about 6 months of daily pushing to learn how to take out light, shallow dents. This can be learned at home or in a garage or actually in a body shop setting. It takes about a full year of daily pushing to become just a novice technician. And it takes about 5 full years of daily pushing to become an experienced technician, worthy of working, hailstorms or mobile or for insurance claims and things like that. The best place to learn PDR, in my opinion, is at home. Most shops won't give you the opportunity to learn while you're either working for them or just to walk in and just to watch. They either want something out of you or they want you to pay them so that you can learn. Personally, from my experience, paying for online training is the best method to learn. Maybe if you take an online training class, you could then be ready to take an in-person training class, but nothing beats just standing behind a panel and pushing yourself. In-person training may be beneficial to you opposed to online training if you get bored or easily distracted. The only problem with that is that it can cost $10,000 to $15,000 for training, and it usually only lasts 3 or 4 weeks. And you won't even come out an experienced technician. You still have to stand behind a panel or sit behind one and push your dents. Again, nothing beats experience, just taking the time and being behind the metal and actually pushing. What tools you need? You need whale tails. They call them whale tails because they have a whale's tail at the end of it. PDR rods, and this is a PDR rod. It's a triple bend. You can tell because it bends right here, and right here. PDR knockdowns. You have a fine tip PDR knockdown, and you have a blunt tip PDR knockdown. And you need a practice panel, which it's not in view right now, but I'll get to it shortly. And you need a reflective panel, and an old school reflective panel looks like this. It's called a PDR line board. It's made by a company called UltraDent Tools. And you have a modern day reflective panel, and it looks like this. And it's called a fog board, and it's battery powered, and it lights up. You see that? Okay. These are the basic tools that you would need to perform PDR. The last tool right here is what experienced technicians would typically use. It's made by UltraDent Tools, and it's called the blending hammer, and it has knockdown tips at the end of it. I don't know if you can see the picture in the video, but it just has a whale tail on this side, and it has a PDR rod on this side. And here's a reflection board. We have a line board right here, and we have a fog board right here. It's just showing you how the reflection looks like on a panel. The best way to get started is to become an apprentice at a shop. It's usually very hard to find, but it's usually the best approach because you have hands-on experience and you can actually see a real tech at work. Another way to enter the industry is to become an R&I tech. It's also known as a removal and installation tech. And these guys, they remove headliners and other interior trims so that technicians can get inside with their whale tails or their PDR rods, and they can manipulate the metal. And then afterwards, the R&I tech would go back and replace everything. The last way to get into the industry, but it's not the easiest way, is either to be like a shop janitor or somebody like an assistant to the shop owner or one of the techs. From there, once you build your relationship with these people, they will most likely be glad to help you also get into the industry as well. There are various things to look out for when you're looking for work, or actually just to get started in general. Some shops, they will actually take advantage of your time. A good example is if you were to walk into a shop, they would want you to do different things for them, and you, in return, you'd either want to get trained or compensated, but when that time comes, they won't be willing to do it for you. Before working for a shop, what I would personally do is talk to other employees and see how they're treated and see how they're paid, because a lot of shops, they don't treat their employees fairly, and a lot of them, they do delay payment, or they actually don't pay them for the work that they actually performed, and they do this in sneaky ways in hopes that the people that do the work, the technicians, wouldn't notice. This all ties back to all shops are not ran by honest people. There's a lot of insurance money involved in this industry, and when you get something like that involved, there's usually room for a lot of fraud to be happening as well. Many shops, again, they hire technicians with no intention of paying them or compensating them fairly. They just want the work. They want to collect insurance checks or customer job checks, and never reimburse the technicians for their time or their work. Can anybody do PDR is a good question. Some technicians will tell you, oh, you have to be very special, you have to have good eyes, and you have to have good hand-eye coordination. And this is true, yes, but you don't have to be special. Anybody can do it. You just have to have a lot of patience and time committed to learning how to manipulate the metal. There's, again, some technicians will say it's not for everybody, which I guess you can say it's not for everybody because PDR is a form of art. It's similar to painting. If you don't have patience, or if you're just not interested in general, you can't just make somebody do it. Again, it's like saying cooking is not for everybody. You know, anybody can cook, but you know, it takes a great deal of patience and interest in actual cooking to be a good chef. You don't need certifications, but they do help. If you do have them, it makes yourself look more credible. If you have a certification and you're barely getting started, shops are more likely to give you a chance to post to somebody that doesn't have a certification. But at the end, the only thing that really matters is how much experience you have. The types of metal that can be fixed is steel and aluminum. There is a misconception in the industry that aluminum is cannot be manipulated, and that steel is the only thing that can be shaped, and this is incorrect. Mostly all types of metal can be manipulated as long as the tools are strong enough to manipulate them, and the technician is experienced enough to perform the work. Working on aluminum is a little bit harder than working on steel, but nonetheless it can be done. And most cars, or many cars today, are actually made out of aluminum opposed to being made out of steel. So say you do learn PDR, the question comes, what if you mess up? So say you're a mobile tech, or you go into a shop and you try to do some work as a third-party vendor or somebody like that, and you mess up somebody's car beyond repair. Usually you have to eat the cost yourself, but it does help to have insurance as a performing technician. That way, in case you do mess up, you can talk to your insurance company and they can usually make things right. Working for a shop is better because they usually carry their own insurance. So if you accidentally break a window, or if you do some damage that can't really be repaired anymore, they can usually eat the cost for you. Mistakes that are made beyond repair usually have to get repainted or have their panels replaced. So it's important to know what you're doing before you actually perform the work, because it can get things can go backwards or go wrong really fast if you don't know what you're doing. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and place a practice panel right here, and I'll get back with you guys shortly. All right, guys, I'm back. Here's the setup. This is a deck lid to a 2007 Toyota Corolla Sport. As you can see, it does have a lot of damage, and this is actually a trash panel that I picked up at a local body shop. Most will be willing to give you panels that they no longer need anymore, but it's important to ask before you just take them, because some shops will actually think that you're stealing and call the cops on you. I know this from personal experience. So every panel has underneath it different types of bracing that techs have to maneuver around. This is when you can take your PDR tools. This is the whale tail that I showed earlier, and this is used for getting in between a brace like this, and you just push your dents out by twisting it. And this is the PDR rod that I showed earlier, and it goes in these larger cavities to push dents out that way as well. And this goes directly underneath the metal on the panel. So right over this is the paint on the other side of the panel. It's secured with things called ratchet tie downs. This is so the panel doesn't move when you are pushing on dents. Most technicians will have a cart next to them, and this is a setup of how one of their carts may look like. Alright guys, here's a video of the reflection board facing the panel, and in turn I can look into the panel and see where all the dents are. I marked a dent with green. You can see right here, and right in the center is a dent. I did clean the panel before I marked. It's important to have a clean panel because dirty panels lead to dirty dents. To fix this dent, I'm going to go ahead and insert my PDR tool, particularly a rod like one I displayed earlier through one of the cavities that I showed you, and I'm going to go ahead and massage the dent out. You wouldn't be able to do this any other way except with a PDR reflection board. Where a lot of people make mistakes is that they pull screwdrivers or some kind of other tool out of their toolbox, and they try to fix their dent, and they actually end up making it look a lot worse. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tool in and see what we can do. I'm also moving my head a lot to make sure that I'm not repeating any pushes. And we are almost done. I'm in the final steps of pushing. So what you're aiming for is these little pockets of gray in the middle of the panel. And to know you're done pushing a dent, you change the reflection board. And if you see any imperfections looking that way, you go ahead and push them out. And usually you do have to move the board at least once to know that you pushed the dent out all the way. So right now I'm just matching orange peel, and it's looking pretty good. The great thing about orange peel is that if you poke a little bit high, it can usually match with surrounding orange peel, so you don't have to knock it back down again. And let's come back. And look at that, it looks like a dent wasn't even there. I hope you guys like my presentation for LTech. Before you leave, here's a handout that you can take with you to look at as a review of what I went over. Other than that, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me right now or after the presentation is over. You can also email me or text me if you're interested. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.